Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you, sneak in between all the speakership drama with Jim Jordan, is Alec Baldwin has an update to his case, and it's not good for Alec. This is interesting because a grand jury is about to be convened against him in a criminal proceeding. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think on this one because I've got mixed feelings on this one. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, and let me know what you guys think in the comments field down there. All right, my brothers and sisters, it's just never going away for Alec Baldwin. Now, if you guys remember, Alec Baldwin is extremely anti-gun, like viscerally anti-gun. And he originally was charged, and then prosecutors let him off the hook, and now he's getting in front of a grand jury again. Now, why is important? Because the prosecutors have decided to pursue charges. Check this out. Prosecutors seeking to recharge actor Alec Baldwin in fatal shooting on movie set. We all know what happened, but the big story here in the update is that the prosecutors had said when they dropped the charges, pending further investigations, they may recharge him. Well, it turns out those further investigations that we covered with like the third-party forensic organization, the FBI statistics and data, all that stuff, well, they contradict each other, so now they're taking it to a grand jury, and he's being charged again. Check this out, because this is a wrinkle in this case. So this is from the Associated Press yesterday. Special prosecutors are seeking to recharge actor Alec Baldwin in the fatal shooting of cinematographer on the set of Western movie in 2021, describing Tuesday their preparations to present new information to a grand jury. Like I said, this happened yesterday. New Mexico-based prosecutors Carrie Morrissey and Jason Lewis said they'll present their case to the grand jury within the next 2 months, noting additional facts have come to light in the shooting on the set of the film Rust that killed Halna Hutchinson. Now, we all know what happened. They sent it to a third-party firm, and they're looking at the details and how it factors in. Check this out. Quote, after extensive investigation over the past several months, additional facts have come to light that we believe show Mr. Baldwin has criminal culpability in the death of Halna Hutchinson and the shooting of Joel Zazua. Morrissey and Lewis said in an email, quote, we believe the appropriate course of action is to permit a panel of the New Mexico citizens to determine from here whether Mr. Baldwin should be held for criminal trial. Now, I think that in my own personal opinion, liability, civil trial, absolutely. Go to town. He was the producer. He was responsible, as Tim mentioned in our second legacy filming. I think we're in agreement on that. He was liable from a standpoint of a business perspective. Now, was he criminally liable? We'll see if the jury actually comes in. But this is the analysis that they're basing this also off of. And then I've got one more thing that's kind of weird at the end, and we'll tie it all together. The analysis, led by Lucien Haag of Forensic Science Services in Arizona, this is the firm that contradicts the FBI, stated that although Baldwin repeatedly denies pulling the trigger, given the test, finding and observations reported here, the trigger had to be pulled or depressed sufficiently to release the fully cocked or retracted hammer of the evidence revolver. An earlier FBI report on the agency's analysis of the gun found that, as is common with firearms of that design, it could go off without pulling the trigger if force was applied to the uncocked hammer, such as by dropping the weapon. And Tim does a really good job explaining this more in detail and depth on Second Legacy episode, which will air tonight. But the entire point is, when that hammer is resting on the primer, they're saying that force can make it go off by itself, but he was holding it in his hand. That's where this whole thing gets very convoluted. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In my personal opinion, again, personal opinion, what it sounds like happened was he cocked the hammer with his thumb for effect, and it slipped, and it discharged. That's what it sounds like happened. Like he didn't get it all the way back to the locking mechanism, but I wasn't there, like I said. But this last piece, this is the interesting part. The only way the testers could get it to fire was by striking the gun with a mallet while the hammer was down and resting on the cartridge, or by pulling the trigger when it was fully cocked. The gun eventually broke during testing. So in order to recreate this, they had to use a mallet on a hammer resting on a primer. I find that extremely fascinating because that's not just going to magically go off. Anyway, this last part, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this one, and then I'll tie this entire thing together. This I found fascinating. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. The filming of Rust resumed this year in Montana under an agreement with the cinematographer's widower, Matthew Hudson, so the husband of the woman who got shot, that made him an executive producer. I don't know why. That just strikes me as a little bit odd and weird. You guys can let me know what that's about in the comments or your thoughts on it. But now let's tie this all together. So, what you're looking at now for Alec Baldwin, will he get civil liability and civil penalties and sued out of his brain? Absolutely, he will. And probably should, for the overview of everything that happened on the idea of what's allowed on set, who's working, all these different things. But criminal culpability, genuinely, I don't know about that one. And keep in mind, in the backstory on this, Alec Baldwin has come out and said, you can't charge me with other charges that were passed after. It's unconstitutional, according to the Bruin decision and Supreme Court precedent. So it's a very convoluted thing. Of course, this all being rooted and based in the idea that the ultimate irony of this guy is an abject gun-controlling advocate. It does seem a little interesting. Criminal? I honestly don't know. We're going to find out when the grand jury convenes. Civil? 1,000%. But that's my thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you think? Is criminal culpability or civil culpability? Do you think the hammer just dropped magically or the mallet was used that was invisible? Or do you think it's really, really weird that the executive producer spot was filled by the widower all of a sudden to help the show continue? I look forward to all your thoughts amidst all the drama with Jim Jordan and the speakership. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.